How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And this is our review of Loki Season 2, Episode 1, Ouroboros?
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. We're going to go spoiler-free. I loved the first season of Loki. You did not love this first. That was to say you
decidedly hated
yeah.
it. Yes.
This is my favorite follow-up to a Marvel anything in a long time. That's what I'm
Probably
going to say.
since Thor Ragnarok.
You're going to say Love and Thunder. I was going to say, for me, probably since, like, when was Infinity War? Or I guess Endgame. Endgame was after Ragnarok. But this feels like the conclusion that Endgame was to Infinity War. Not that this is a conclusion, but the continuation, though. Like, this is awesome. I love this.
I think the thing that this episode did really, really well is the highlight of Season 1. And again, coming from a guy who hated Season 1. But the highlight...
Please tell me the highlight.
But the highlight of Season 1 was really the way that it let the actors play off of each other. And I think that they kept that...
Specifically Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston.
Correct, yeah. They kept those aspects of it because I think... For the most part, all of the main character actors in this, like, their interactions were still just as enjoyable.
Because that's the heart of Season 1. You're right. It kept the heart, but go on. Yeah.
It kept the heart, but the packaging around it is so much better.
So different, man. Whoever the director is for this, I don't know who it is. I didn't look it up, but oh my God. I like a lot of Season 1. I think it's probably, like, the best or second best, like, Marvel Disney Plus thing that they've done, maybe right behind WandaVision. And that has its own, like, tone and stylistic choices, and I really like that. But this, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, the cinematography feels so different. The score felt about the same, but everything else just, like, boom, we're in a different show with a different. It feels like you're just reading, like, a new run on, like, a new artist and a new writer from the comics.
So I forgot about this until this very second. Loki Season 1 was filmed in the pandemic, and I think we talked about how, like, a lot of the sets felt empty. Maybe that's the big difference.
Maybe. This just feels so real. Like,
it does feel like...
It has weight to it.
Obviously there is CGI to it.
Sure, yeah.
But I think you're right in that so many of these Disney Plus shows have just been plagued with being dependent on really bad CGI. And this, you can really tell that these are actual sets. Yeah, and it really makes it really helps set you in this world and ground you in this world, and I think it makes a world of a difference.
For sure. I don't know if it probably helps that a lot of it the CGI is, like, kind of darker. Or, like,
it's darker and it's
more neutral tone. It's background stuff. Yeah. Kind of like what was the movie we just saw? Creator. And the Creator, a lot of there's a lot of CG in there, but it's filmed on real locations, and they just add CG to, like, a little accent to touch it. Like, this is perfect. Like, I think if the MCU stays on this path with, like, how they combine CGI and practical, I think then we're gonna stop hearing complaints about everything looking like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Hopefully,
yeah.
All right, you want to talk about the plot? Where Loki finds himself?
Kind of. So we pick up pretty much where the last season ended.
Right.
For the most part, Loki's doing a little time slipping, kind of like what we see in Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know if it's the same time slipping that we see in, like, Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, when, like, Miles or a character's in a different reality, they'll be, like, glitching because that's not their reality.
Oh, yeah.
It almost feels like that, but I don't know if that's exactly what they're going for.
It's an interesting parallel. I like that.
But he's time slipping all over the place. He's just trying to get everybody. He's just trying to stay in one spot. It seems like, for the most part of this episode. We get introduced to a couple new characters. I love one of them. I hate the other. Do we want to talk about the one?
Honestly, the one there's a TVA security guy.
His name's X5.
Sure,
and I could not stand this character.
Not only do I not care about the character, I don't care about that specific plot line, which I kind of told you off camera. Like, that whole thing, I couldn't care less. So I also don't really care to talk about it. It's
It's the worst part of the show.
It's the worst part of the show. Moving on to the stuff we liked.
Yeah, moving on to stuff we like. There's another character they introduced, Ke Kwan's character. If you've seen the trailers and if you know anything about this, you know that he's going to be in this show. Incredible.
The title character for this episode.
Yeah.
Or Boris. Or Obi.
Yeah, I like Obi. That's cool. I like everything that they're doing with his character, what his character does, how long his character has been there, what his character serves for the story.
His interaction with Mobius and Loki is just it's a treat. It's a treat to watch. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Also, maybe my favorite, I won't say what, but maybe my favorite example of time travel affecting the present.
Yes,
I guess.
yes,
I in anything, not just in the MCU. Like this is like it's, and they even make a joke about how like flawless it is.
Yeah,
I was like, this is great.
It's really, really good. It's again, it's just a lot of fun. The whole thing is a good experience.
I have a question for you. Do you think that the common person who doesn't watch a lot of the Marvel stuff and doesn't like all the time travel stuff, you think they're gonna watch this and be lost?
I think a little bit, mostly because this picks up right away from season 1.
Yeah.
And so I do think that some of that, having not seen season 1 for a while, especially in the beginning, there was a bit of me being like, wait, what's happening? Why are we here? What's going on?
I tell you what, though, I'm happy that they're doing this versus just like meandering and like everyone's like, okay, we need some answers as to how time and the variants and how everything's working right now. And this isn't wasting any time. It puts you right in there. Sure. And it's like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're explaining.
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily gives you answers, but I do think...
It's starting to, though.
I do think that it, at the very least, I felt like this episode, specifically when we get to Obi, that like, I understand what's happening in this season. Like, maybe the last season, I don't have any more answers, but that could also be because there aren't
in the last season, they don't really tell you what the rules are for the universe that they're in. And in this, they pretty much just tell you there are no rules. Like, essentially. Maybe
that's
there's
kind of what... You know what? I'm not fighting about season 1 again. We're just not going to do it. Moving on.
Speaking of season 1, one thing I really loved about season 1 was, we debate about this too, but like the philosophical debates and questions that the show brings up. This season is doing that maybe harder than ever, I would say. Like, it's pretty much brought up in the beginning of like, man, we have to like deal with the fact, I mean, because it's at the end of season 1, this isn't a spoiler. We have to deal with these people. It's a spoiler for season 1, but they have to deal with the fact that like everything they've known is a lie. And like you have to tell people, are people ready for that? You know what I mean? And like, that's a huge like high concept type of question. Like maybe it's stupid, I guess, but like I like that Marvel is diving into these kind of questions, because like a kid that's watching this is going to have these thoughts now. These are thought-provoking questions, all right?
I'm glad you think so.
Anyway, I like it a lot. I'm
glad you do. Happy for you. All I'll say is that this episode is leaps and bounds better than anything in season 1, and it's mostly because of the writing. Go on.
I won't say that. I will say that it feels like much like going from like the second Harry Potter movie to like the third Harry Potter movie, and like you just feel like, okay, new talent is involved in this. Same talent on screen, off screen talent completely changed. And I won't say for the better, because I love Loki season 1, but I will
for the better.
For all time, always. How about that? Okay. I'm excited to see where this is going. I really can't wait for next week now, honestly.
All right, you want to score it?
I want to say the only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is just because the little side plot with X5 and like what's going on there. Sure. But other than that, I'm gonna say 10, because I'm really interested, and I didn't have super high expectations for this because Marvel has kind of been like dropping the ball a lot with trying to carry on things. It doesn't seem like it's doing a very good job with that lately. And this, I don't know, it kind of blew me away. I'm really excited. I want to know where all the characters are going now. So let's go.
Happy for you.
Did you hate it?
I didn't hate it. I said I enjoyed it. No. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it was solid. It was a
7.
It was a good base hit. It's one where like I think it accomplished everything it said to accomplish, but we've kind of talked about that. But it's still
Loki, so
there's still that elevation aspect that isn't there. I think there is still a little bit of MCU fatigue. Maybe you can blame me for the lower score.
Whoa. When you say that though, because I felt like this felt so unlike any MCU thing. Maybe other than Loki season 1, but like it continued to feel different.
I guess it's almost like if it wasn't for the fact that this season there is still the overarching threat of Kang, and if there wasn't that in other MCU projects, I think this would feel a little bit more fresh.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking what happened here, but I do think for me to give something like a 9 or a 10, it has to really go above and beyond, and it didn't. But I enjoyed this. I thought it was enjoyable.
I wonder if they should have put this out before Quantumania. I think this does a better job of setting up Kang as a
I agree.
Big like scary guy than Quantumania does.
In a way, it almost feels like there's two different threats that we're talking about. They just happen to have the same name.
Yeah,
but all right, you want to take us out?
Yeah, guys. We'll see you guys next week. I think we're gonna do another episode of these. So yeah.
All right. See you then.